So, we've been having some fun and games with the BBC over the past week or so. What many people don't realize is that the BBC's had many years of there are some very dodgy, deceptive practices. So many people think they're the beacon of truth and decency. But we're going to have a look now. Things couldn't be further from the truth.
You see the BBC thing? The head of BBC had to resign because they took a film of Trump and they edited it to make it look like he was trying to get people to go attack people and fight at the Capitol.
To the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
All right, that's the BBC.
To the Capitol.
This is what he actually said.
And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
54 minutes.
We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Not only is this one nuts, but this one is for a literal president of the greatest country the world's ever known. And you're lying about what he said publicly. 60 Minutes did it with the Kamala Harris interview, but they did it the other way. They made it look like she had a good answer, which is like, it's so crazy. Like, you guys are supposed to be the news. Right. You're not supposed to be the propaganda arm of whatever party you support. This is nuts.
I'm sure you've heard me say before, Malcolm X said that the media can make the innocent look guilty and the guilty look innocent. So please I find what's going on there amazing, but it's just so blatant now. It's so, if somebody is so evil, why do you need to be making up lies about them? Why do you need to be editing their speeches? Crazy. As I say, the fact is often stranger than fiction.
Shocking new leaked documents allege the BBC deliberately misled viewers by doctoring footage of Trump, making him appear to encourage the January 6 riots. Quote, they completely misled viewers by showing the president telling supporters he was going to walk to the Capitol with them to fight like hell.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell.
When in fact, he said that he would walk with them to, quote, peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. The documents claim that the BBC deliberately excluded that section. In fact, the version they aired comprises of two separate parts of his speech, nearly an hour apart, edited together. But it doesn't end there. The internal whistleblower memo seen by The Telegraph also claims 9 more occasions the BBC displayed anti-Trump bias during the election, as well as failing to report objectively on a range of other issues too. And why this is significant is because not only is the BBC by a large margin the most visited news provider in the world, but also, according to surveys, one of the most trusted too. However, Michael Prescott, the man behind this memo, and the former advisor to the BBC's editorial guidelines and standards committee, claimed that senior executives and the BBC's chairman ignored and dismissed a string of serious complaints which were raised by the corporation's own standards watchdog. He said that he was moved to act and make this public out of despair at inaction by the BBC's executives when issues came to light. The BBC has responded to this by saying, while we don't comment on leaked documents, when the BBC receives feedback, it takes it seriously and considers it carefully. So the question is, what do you guys think?
It's amazing. If you hear what the guy said, he said that 9 times during the last election, the US election, they did inaccurate journalism. Inaccurate reporting. So basically, it's election interference. That's what it is. Let's call it what it is. Stop beating around the bush. It's election interference. 9 times. There's a saying that if you go to step on a step and it gives way, don't step on it again. So it's like, so if I find out someone or some organization lying to me once, I take everything they say with a pinch of salt. And to be honest, if I catch someone lying to me once, I try not to listen to them again if possible. That's why I don't really watch mainstream news, to be honest.
You have a year to bring a defamation case in the UK. That ran out effectively at midnight on the 27th of October, which was effectively the year since the documentary first went out in the UK. So he's trying to do this in Florida, where there is a 2-year deadline to start a case. He'll have to show to the Florida judge that he or she, that judge, has jurisdiction over the BBC, which means showing that the panorama was available, was accessible, was broadcast, was clickable or something in the United States, so that US consumers could watch this content and probably in suitable numbers as well. Let's just say that Donald Trump has got jurisdiction and he can show to a Florida judge this was accessible in the US and I've suffered untold harm because of it. He's got two problems with that. The first is he has to prove there was actual malice by the BBC. In effect, that the BBC knew what it was doing when it edited these clips together, or was completely reckless to the consequences of that. And that means, this is the second issue, in proving the actual malice, he's then got to have some clear and consistent evidence of what that malice was. I think it's fundamentally going to come down to these two questions of jurisdiction. Can Trump show this was available in the United States? And malice.
Well, to be honest, I don't bet, but if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet against Trump, because I'm sure he took ABC to court, he took CNN to court, he's been taking them, he's been rinsing their pockets in America. You watch my Trump is a billionaire, he's used to going into court and so forth. So if he's not going to he's not going to say he's going to sue them for the fun of it. I'm sure he's on very solid ground if he's going to go and try and sue them. But they need to be sued. People need to know what is really going on. There's no point that you having a so-called trusted news source that's lying left, right, and centre.
President Trump is trying to destroy our BBC, not because he cares about the truth, but because he doesn't want to get away with his lies. Trump has undermined press freedom in America. Now he's trying to do the same here, disgracefully egged on by the leader of reform. So will the Prime Minister tell President Trump to drop his demand for $1 billion settlement from the BBC? And will he guarantee that President Trump will not get a single penny from British licence fee payers?
Let me be clear, I believe in a strong and independent BBC. Some would rather the BBC didn't exist. Some of them are sitting up there. I'm not one of them. In an age of disinformation, the argument for impartial British news service is stronger than ever. And where mistakes are made, they do need to get their house in order, and the BBC must uphold the highest standards, be accountable and correct errors quickly. But I will always stand up for a strong, independent BBC.
Mistake? What mistake? These aren't not mistakes. This is blatant doctrine of video. This is not no mistake. Remember, someone had to doctor the videos. It didn't have to go to an editorial number of people who had to look at it. So this ain't no mistake. They know what they're doing.
Finally and inadvertently revealed what they actually think of you.
BBC again.
Live from London, this is BBC News.
We knew it anyway. We knew they never respected us. Now, here's some propaganda. Sit down and shut up and stop questioning everything. Stop independently thinking. You're making our systems fall apart.
These people are crazy. I remember when she saw the camera, was on her, she fixed herself up quick. So it shows you these people, they'll smile at you, they'll talk their posh Queen's English with you, but a lot of their hearts are wicked. A lot of their hearts are wicked and perverse.
The media career and the final breaking of a royal romance long turned sour.
Well, there was...
Now, I know there's a lot of youngsters on there, you might not have seen this, but so what's basically happened, Princess Diana, who was married to the then Prince Charles, this Martin Bashir, this BBC reporter, journalist, whatever you call yourself, got his people to make up some bank statements to make it look as if some of her staff, or maybe even her brother's staff, were getting paid to actually undermine her and to report information about her and spy on her. So because of that, because of this deception, she's now opened up and started to talk about stuff that really shouldn't really be spoke about in the public domain. But she felt so undermined and disgusted. She said she doesn't care. She's going to go and talk. But the whole thing was because of this guy, Martin Bashir. He used some fake documents to make it look as if people are being paid to spy on her. This is just wickedness from start to finish.
3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
But Martin Bashir's scoop became an acute embarrassment for the BBC after revelations many years later that he used forged documents to entice Princess Diana to give her interview. Deceit that the BBC covered up. Now, emails written by Bashir as he fought his corner back then have emerged. The criticism of him, he wrote, was professional jealousy, and he added, at the time, it was also apparent that there was some irritation that a second-generation immigrant of non-white working...
So he's crying racism. He's crying racism.
...class roots should have the temerity to enter a royal palace and conduct an interview. It would have been so much easier if one of the dynastic families, Dimbleby et al., had done it. It's part of a huge release of files contested by the BBC with big legal bills to the investigative journalist Andy Webb, who believes there may be more damaging disclosures for the corporation.
Its chief relevance is it proves that at a certain point in time, the BBC admits that it was in possession of certain documents, but also decided not to release those documents.
Today, the corporation insisted there is nothing to support the allegations that the BBC acted in bad faith in 2020, and we maintain this suggestion is simply wrong. Its former star journalist left the BBC in 2021, citing ill health, but his reputation is just one more casualty of his most famous moment.
Your Royal Highness, thank you.
I mean, I'm not... I don't know what to say. What can you say? The wickedness. I'm gonna keep quiet. I better keep quiet. I don't want to get thrown off the channel, man. Seriously, these people are diabolical. Diabolical. Now this is another big one with the Building 7 on the day of infamy in America.
A BBC reporter broadcasting directly back to England, talking about a third building has collapsed. World Trade Center Building 7 talks for 7 minutes. All the while she's talking, World Trade Center Building 7 is still standing right behind her. It didn't fall for another half hour, yet they were doing a pre-broadcast back to England that, yes, it's true,
you need to
that
take
this
a break
building fell and it hadn't fallen yet.
You're trying to make out the British Broadcasting Company, one of the most respected news organisations in the world.
One of the most respected news organisations in the world. I don't know who to respect them, because I could have told you 30 years ago it's pure lies and deception.
Was inventing huge buildings falling over. You need to have...
So basically what he's saying is the news report, the BBC news desk and the news reporters were reporting on the day of 9/11 that Building 7 had fallen down. Problem is, Building 7 didn't fall down for another 26 minutes. So the problem is who knew what and why did they know beforehand? And it shows you it couldn't have fallen down by accident.
2007. 9/11 researchers reviewing archives of live news coverage from September 11th discovered to their shock that BBC World had reported that Building 7, also known as the Solomon Brothers building, had completely collapsed over 20 minutes before its actual implosion. First anchors at the London news desk reported it.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from... Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. There's almost a sense downtown in New York behind me, down by the World Trade Centers, of just an area completely closed off as the rescue workers try to do their job. But this isn't the first building that has suffered as a result. We know that part of the Marriott Hotel next to the World Trade Center also collapsed as a result of this huge amount of falling debris from 110 floors of the two twin towers of the World Trade Center. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline.
Crazy. And to be honest, I could be here all day and all night, the amount of clips I got on the BBC. There's even one with Jimmy Savile doing stuff. Melissa, some girls on top of the pops in broad daylight on camera, and no one saying anything to him. Even one of the Nolan sisters, he's there touching up and getting a bit too familiar with. So the BBC, well, as I say, I knew they were a disgrace a long time ago, but hopefully you guys stop watching it and don't pay them a black cent, don't pay them nothing to lie to you, to bring deception into your house. Again, be careful where you get information from. As I said, I don't. And the problem is, President Trump's been calling them out since he began to run. Before he won in 2016. He said, "You are fake news." Do you know, I should have put some of them clips in it where he's talking to BBC. Where he's telling them straight, you are CNN, ABC, MSNBC, BBC. He keeps telling them, you are fake. I'm not going to ask you anything because you are fake news. They're fake news. Trump's not lying to you people. He's telling you the truth. The scripture says the truth shall set you free. We must love the truth. Jesus said you must love the truth and sell it not. There's nothing sweeter than the truth. It's okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening and spending some time with me. I hope you guys run from these people. To be honest, if you don't know where to get information from, you got things like trigonometry, you got channels like Redacted. These are good channels. Also, listen to full debates. Like Matt people, they're experts now. They're experts on Charlie Kirk and so forth. Listen to these people, even Tommy Robinson and so forth. Listen to them give debates at the Oxford Union where you can hear them talk properly and find out what's really about, what really is going on with them. Because the problem is, pardon me, we get lies like the BBC and some of these people, and they put a few doctor clips together and call someone a racist, and as far as we're concerned, they're racist. It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. As I say, the truth does not fear investigation. So just because someone's called a racist doesn't mean they're racist. They may be a racist, but you don't just take two clips from it and run with it. Do some research, check stuff out. As I said to you, you've got Redacted, you've got trigonometry, you've got, what's it got? And I said, Oxford, some of the long-form debates on the Oxford Union are really good because you really get an understanding of what people are about, because they can ask questions, they can put forward their narrative, their viewpoint without the media organization doctoring what they say. Because as we can see, these people doctor what people say. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. Malcolm X said, the media can make the innocent look guilty and the guilty look innocent. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell icon so that when I send out any more messages, you'll be notified. And please comment. If you think I'm waffling, talking foolish, just comment. If you agree with what I said, just comment. Please, that helps our algorithm to push my videos out further and further to people. Thank you so much, and may God bless all of you. Thank you so much. Take care. Goodbye.